All right, it is 6:30. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Mr. Secretary, do we have a quorum?
All members are present. We have a quorum.
All right. I'd like to make the announcement that this meeting of the Seguin Independent School District has been duly called and the notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Section 551.043 of the Texas Government Code. Mr. Amador, would you please lead us in the pledges?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor to Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
We'll take a bit of time for a moment of silence. All right, I'd like to welcome everybody here. It's so exciting to see all these young people, parents, teachers, administrators. This is our last official school board meeting for this school year, so I'm really happy to see all of you here. At this time, we're going to turn it over to Mr. Lewis, and he's going to give us a superintendent update.
All right, thank you, and good evening, and welcome. I'd like to share a few highlights from around the district. In a few moments, we're going to recognize just a couple students from our DI teams. I have a hard time that they have this much energy, believing they have this much energy after a week, and I know they came in late Sunday, and they flew in late Sunday, and glad to have you all back safe and sound and back in district, and we're looking forward to that recognition in a few moments. We're going to also recognize some of our awesome student councils and one of our superstar teachers from the high school. This is a busy time of year, a lot of recognitions and celebrations going on. The past few weeks we've had our Athletic Booster Club Scholarship Banquet. We had our Seguin Education Foundation Celebration of Excellence, where the top 10% graduates got to recognize their teacher heroes, and that was just a great special tradition for Seguin High School, and a great thing to be a part of. We honored our service awards and our retirees this past week here in the district. Always fun and also sad that for the folks that are leaving us, but also a great time to celebrate the great things they've done and be a part of that and share with those fine folks that have spent a lot of time up to 35 or more years in the district. We had Decision Day on May 24th, where over 130 students announced their post-high school plans, and that was really exciting for folks going to the military academy, different colleges, trade schools. It was an exciting time and a great event, and I appreciate Mr. Escobar bringing that new tradition to Seguin High School. We had our annual Teacher of the Year banquet on May 25th. We got to recognize all of our campus Teachers of the Year, and especially our district Teachers of the Year. Joseph Cantu was our elementary Teacher of the Year from Rodriguez, music teacher, and Megan Dodd, a secondary Teacher of the Year from Barnes, and so that was a special time. And then tomorrow we get to do it one more time, and we're excited about that. To do that with the local Masonic Lodge, Guadalupe Masonic Lodge, will also recognize those teachers tomorrow, so that's exciting. I learned today we had 13 young folks from the high school earn their certified nursing assistant certification. I just got that information today, so that's exciting. I had the honor of attending the Breezy Meister Lion King Jr. Presentation last week, and it was really, really awesome. Those kids did an amazing job. There was probably 60 or 70 kids involved in that production, from the choir and the theater production and the different teams that performed on there. So I'd like to give Mr. Jackson and Mr. Parrott just a shout out. They did an amazing job with that production. And not to be outdone, the high school kids did their presentation of Grease, and it's been a long time since they've done that Grease presentation, but it was amazing. The vocals, the acting, just the overall production was fabulous, and I thoroughly enjoyed that. I know a lot of folks enjoyed that this weekend. It was excellent. As our school year winds down, our seniors, high school kids are working on their final exams this week, and we're preparing for graduation this Saturday at Matador Stadium, 8 p.m. At this time, there is a chance of rain. I'm going to say very small chance in hopes that it's a very small chance. But we do have a plan in place for inclement weather. We're going on June 3rd at 8 p.m. as scheduled. If we will look on Friday night around 6 o'clock, if we can make an adjustment on Saturday, our first priority is to make sure we have that graduation in the stadium at all possible costs so everybody can attend. And so if we think there's going to be rain Saturday night and it's clear Saturday morning, we'll make an announcement, send calls out and move that graduation to 10 o'clock in the morning. If everything's looking good and on task or on pace to have that on Saturday night, we'll just keep that going. We'll still post an update. We're still on schedule for 8 o'clock Saturday night. If we get to around 4 o'clock Saturday afternoon and the way things change around here so quickly, we'll make that determination if we have to go indoors or not for that graduation. And the kids are all have that information and the plans for that. So we're going to take good thoughts. We need rain, but we need graduation, and we need it in that stadium at 8 o'clock. So that's what I hope happens. On Friday of this week, we are going to move the high school office staff out of their offices at the high school, and we're moving them over to Mercer Bloomberg. And the high school is going to office out of Mercer Bloomberg for several weeks because on June 5th, things start coming down over at the older part of the high school. And we'll start moving other stuff out, and the movers are coming, and the teachers are boxed up, and the staff's boxed up, and we're moving things, and the transition is beginning to take place. And we're super excited about that movement, and just a great day for Seguin. Again, I want to thank our teachers, our students, and our administrators all over the district for all their hard work this year. Another great year, and I hope everyone has a safe and blessed summer. Thank you.
All right, so just to reiterate that move into the new high school, it's real. It is real, so it is happening. Mr. Esquivel back there has really done a great job trying to coordinate things.
He had a full set of hair before the year started.
That is very true.
Thank you for all you've done. Thanks to everybody. All right, moving on to recognition and campus presentations. Mr. Sean Hoffman will be bringing up some students, I believe.
Good evening, board members, Mr. Lewis. Tonight it's a pleasure to recognize, Bill mentioned tradition earlier, the tradition that Seguin ISD has in Destination Imagination Competition. It's outstanding, it's consistent, it's year in and year out. We constantly have teams going every year to global competition in Knoxville, Tennessee. I can assure you that in Knoxville, they know how to spell and they know how to pronounce Seguin properly because we are there every year. So without going any further, I'd like to introduce the backbone behind this program, Michael Olstead, to come up. I'm just going to turn it over to him.
Facing you guys. I would like to, but thank you. That's where the kids are. All right, just a little background for the parents. There were 17 nations represented this year at Globals. There were 8,000 participants, and there were 1,400 teams. Seguin has a record that is phenomenal. We have sent 36 teams in the last 12 years, and over 30% of those teams finish in first, second, or third. Over 80% of those teams finish in the top 10. And those are what is acknowledged there. Now that's very phenomenal coming from such a small community. And so with that said, this year we took a second, a fifth, a seventh, and 11th, barely, almost made it to 10, and then a team that finished 22nd. Fine Arts Challenge from Kinnicky Elementary finished second. They were second to China. And on that team is Chase Dominguez and his sister, Desi Dominguez. Bailey Garcia, Clarissa Holden, Dylan Webb and Chandler Stevenson. I had the opportunity to spend a lot of time with these guys, and it has truly been a joy. Every team gets to take kind of create their own name. These guys are called Live or DI. The next one is from the Scientific Challenge. It is out of Weinert. And to kind of put this in perspective, Weinert has about 70% of our teams. And we need to challenge that from other schools. And so I did spend time in Vogel this year, both middle school, Kinnegee. There was one other, McQueenie. But we want to pick up some of the others. So parents, talk to your schools. All right, 5th place, the Serious 7 or not, Brylan Baker, Paul McDonough, Madison Kirshner, and Ava Saucedo, and they are represented by these two. Also from Weiner, and kind of let me back up. These are all 5th graders that we're bringing up. Every one of these kids started as rising stars. All right? There wasn't. And that is, it's kind of like when you're learning a foreign language. The younger that you start them, the easier it is for them to learn it. The younger that we start them in DI, the easier it is for them to learn the skill sets that we are teaching them, which I think has a lot to do with why Seguin has done so well over the years. All right, so Project Outreach, and this is the community service one, which for me is probably the one that has the greatest impact in terms of what is going on in the world. And this is a 7th place team, and it's John Walker Baker, Olina Fogg, Tilden Nash, Rachel Tovar, Aiden Vargas, and Sophia Beck. They are called the Magic DI. Is that right? Magic DI? All right, now, Scientific Challenge, high school. This team had an outstanding, what we call the long-term or the team challenge. They had one of the highest scores, but then they walked into what we call the instant challenge room, and they struggled a bit. So instead of being where we thought they'd be, which was about 5th, they ended up just off the board in 11th. And this team was made up of Raina Davila, Beckett Lajoy, Andy McDowell, Trinity Ramirez, Karen Rapp, and Emily Weber, and they go by the name of DIY. Team called Seguin Treasure. They finished 22nd. Serenity De Leon, Kendra Rodriguez, and Jaden Tovar. And while they're not all here, these are the 29 students that represented us extremely well at the global competition. Some of y'all, this team, y'all get on this. There we go. All right. 1, 2, 3. Awesome. And then just on a final note, one of the reasons we are so successful is because we have tremendous support from the community and from the school district. And it's probably as good, if not better, than any place that Pam Critter and I have talked to when we tell them the kind of support that we get. So we need to applaud you all. Thank you very much.
And thank you, students, for representing Seguin over really across the planet. Now people in countries all over the world know how to say Seguin, and we appreciate that. Thank you. All right, Mr. Hoffman.
Board members, to round out this agenda item, we also wanted to recognize Diane Weber for getting into the Business Professionals of America Hall of Fame this evening, as well as the NJROTC program for finishing 5th, top honors in the state with academic honors. However, because of testing, the move, and scheduling, they are not here with us this evening. However, Mr. Esquivel does assure me that he will recognize these folks this week. He'll get them a certificate. I'll be there to take a photo of them so we can certainly promote their greatness and promote their achievement in the coming days.
All right, moving on to, and this is you, Mr. Hoffman, again, Vogel and Weinert Elementaries.
Yes, ma'am. Board members, Mr. Lewis, Vogel and Weinert Elementary Schools have received the National Association of Elementary Principals Award for Outstanding Student Councils. Once again, each year, the National Association of Elementary School Principals recognizes outstanding elementaries and middle school student councils throughout the country. This year, the Texas Elementary Principals and Supervisors Association, better known as TEPSA, is proud to announce that Texas has 146 NAESP Student Council Excellent Award recipients. Of these 146 outstanding student councils, Seguin ISD is home to 2 of these winners, Weinert Elementary and Vogel. Weinert is a 4-time winner, and this is Vogel's 3rd year to receive this honor. The award is indicative of the outstanding work done on these campuses to foster student leadership. Both campuses will receive a trophy at a student council workshop this coming fall. And I would like to recognize our principals, Ms. Chandler Block from Vogel and Ms. Brandy Bell from Weinert, so they can come up and introduce these worthy students.
Vogel will go first. Thank you very much. First, I want to call up my 4 lovely ladies. We are missing one, and also my student council sponsor, so if you can come on up. I have to say that Vogel has an amazing student council, and we have an amazing staff and students, and so really I can't take the credit for any of this. I just shake my head and say yes, whatever you want. So I would like to introduce 4 of the lovely ladies who work so hard with our student council. So first we have Miss Cynthia Bentley, Miss Emily Rohde, Miss Janet Wolber, and Miss Haley Halvis. So I'd like to give them a round of applause. And then these 4 lovely ladies right here are moving on to Barnes and Breezy. I'm going to miss them so much, and we are missing one lovely lady today. And they have been in student council since 3rd grade, and they're just a tremendous asset to not only Vogel, but also to Seguin ISD. So I'd like to give them a round of applause. Passing it on.
Okay, this is odd. I'm loud enough. I'm going to go ahead and welcome Troy DiPalermo to the stage, and I'm going to welcome Mrs. White up here. And I'm going to let them introduce the kids. Troy and Leanne White, the music teacher and the technologist. The specials team really adopted student council a long time ago, and they do all of the work with the student council kids. They have fundraisers. They work with the kids. They do the elections. They do the whole 9 yards. I'm super proud of them. Their student council is a great program. Troy was deployed all of this year, so he was gone. And they still managed, the girls picked up his slack and they kept the program going, and they worked very hard because he was the heart and soul of it when it first started. And Missy Rogers and Miss White kept it going, and they made sure that Weiner got the distinction that they deserved, and the kids were still able to succeed in the way they had. So I'm gonna let them introduce the kids.
All right, good evening. Thanks for having us. Yes, very big appreciation to Miss White this year. She did a whole lot for our kiddos. What I'd like to do is just bring them up, and then we'll let our Madam President introduce herself first. We'll let each of the kids say hi to you tonight. So, Weiner Student Council kids, if you could come on up.
Harley Thornton, Ava Saldana, Cheyenne Wright, Ezekiel Gutierrez, Kayla Burns, Eleanor Kenton, Abby Burns, Gracie Sanchez, Brylan Biker.
Thank you, and as both of our student councils know, none of this can be done without the parents, so if we could get both of our student councils to give our parents a round of applause, please.
Great. Bobo, let me get you off.
And then lastly, none of this can be done without you guys, so we really appreciate your support and thank you for the opportunities that you provide us at our schools. Thank you.
And thank you to both sets of principals and students, and I'm thinking that probably a few years from now we're going to see a few of these students at the high school level in some leadership positions, and they've had such great experiences at the elementary school. And Mr. Di Palermo, where are you? Okay, I think I can speak for everybody in this room and say we are very happy to see you back in Seguin, Texas. All right, but thank you to all the students and parents and administrators for coming in this evening. Moving on to the Matador Award of Excellence, Ms. Whitman.
Good evening, Board President, Mr. Lewis, board members. Tonight's an exciting night and a little unique. This is our third quarter Matador Award of Excellence for the months of March, April, and May. And we did a lot of thinking. Normally we have nominees from our different departments and supervisors for this award. But this is a unique May. There's a lot of things happening at Seguin High School and a lot of things that had to happen probably about 2.5 years ago. So we're going to ask Mr. Lewis to come up and let the board know who was selected for the Matador Award of Excellence for the third quarter.
So the staff, as we go over each quarter, the folks that have been nominated, we decided this quarter we would nominate someone and select someone that has, actually a group that has been 2.5 years of having to rearrange, reroute, mud, weather, maybe a gas leak that may or may not have happened a couple years ago, trucks, noise, rewiring, electrical, but in that whole time they have kept the priorities straight, and that's instruction, safety, hot food for our kids, clean schools for our kids and teachers. And so for 2.5 years of enduring to make Seguin ISD a better place and to provide a flagship high school, last week we delivered some treats, 2 cakes to the high school in honor of our high school faculty and staff for the third quarter Matador of Excellence Award. So I'll have the high school come on up. thank you all very, very much for everything y'all done, and it's going to be great next 2 months.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good job.
Congratulations, and thank you so much for your hard work. All right. Moving on to audience with the board. Seguin ISD Board of Trustees designates the time for audience participation beginning each meeting to hear persons who would like to make comments. In accordance with Board Policy BED Local, those wishing to speak sign up for the meeting, stating your concern on noting the agenda item they wish to address. Audience participation is limited to 5 minutes. An audience of more than 5 persons shall be a representative, and the board shall not deliberate any subject that is not on the posted agenda. We do have one person who has signed up this evening, and that is Elizabeth Dixon. Come on up, Elizabeth.
Good evening, everybody. I have
Hi, how are you? Okay, good evening, everybody. Tonight I want to talk about something that is coming to Seguin ISD possibly. It's the ERG-ED program, which is for indoor rowing. We do have indoor rowers. Priscilius had secured them a few years back. And Pop Rowing Foundation out of Seattle actually offers a program with U.S. Rowing for us to receive a grant. It becomes an in-school unit, one unit throughout the school year with the gym. The ERGs travel from one place to another. And it helps to, boost up the students' creativity, and it builds the whole child, and it helps to teach community. My daughter's a rower, so I learned a lot through her as far as, I'm very passionate about this, and I've seen a great change in my daughter through rowing. She has had the opportunity to feel a sense of community with her team. She rose up in Austin, and Pete actually had worked out for her to have off-campus physical education so that she could participate every day after school. And it gives you the opportunity to travel around the world, and around the country for regattas and things like that. Why rowing? Because it builds the whole child. It teaches you community. It builds self-confidence, and it teaches the healthy lifestyle choices, which is something that I think all the students here can definitely benefit from. Nutrition, exercise, just camaraderie. It also teaches you discipline. Most of the rowers that Layla has gone to school with have gone on to engineering. They've gone on to become doctors, lawyers. It actually really pushes you above, and everybody on the team rows. It's not like you have one star student. It's not like you have one person who is, sitting on the bench almost the whole time for the last 5 minutes. Everybody gets a chance, whether you're in a 4 boat or an 8, and everybody wants to work together. Not one person in the boat is an individual. Everybody is afraid of letting the next person in the boat down, or that they don't come across the finish line together. And that is very important, and I think that's something that Seguin students can definitely benefit from. The ERG-ED program, starting off small, gives you the opportunity to try the rowers in classroom. It is a 5-day program. It would have to move to 5 different schools to start off with. They do come out and teach up to 40 teachers how to teach this program, and also eventually we could get on the river. I have looked at multiple opportunities here in Seguin. We have Lake Placid, which is completely open. It's a low wake river. It doesn't have all the business on like Lake McQueenie does. And also, eventually TLU could possibly have a club or something there. It also opens up scholarships for girls because it's an NCAA 1, 2, and 3 sport. So it gives, I put at the end of the packet, 181 schools that offer rowing in their schools, anywhere from NCAA 1 through 3. It gives anyone who is not able to physically row, there's a coxswain. Men's teams also look for coxswains, and girls or boys. They have to be a little smaller in stature. They have to have a big voice. We've got a lot of kids like that here in Seguin.
So I definitely see an opportunity. Plus, if we are able to start rowing here, we have Texas Rowing Center, where my daughter rows, and Austin Rowing Center are the two main places where we could scrimmage with or have contests with on a regular basis. And then we also have about 4 regattas between Austin and Baylor University, where we would be able to participate just here within the I-35 corridor. We don't have to go to Oklahoma City or San Diego or any of that yet. So it does give us goals, starting with something small with the ERGED program and moving our way on up into eventually, boats and boathouse and coaches and things like that. Okay? Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much for bringing this started. All right, moving on to the consent agenda items. For consideration and possible approval, Policy BE Local states that the consent agenda shall include items of a routine and/or occurring nature grouped together under one action item. All such items shall be acted upon by one vote without separate discussion unless a board member requests that an item be withdrawn for individual consideration. The remaining items shall be adopted under a single motion and vote. This evening, under the consent items, we have approval of board minutes, budget workshop, April 25th, 2017, regular meeting, April 25th, 2017. Special board meetings were on April 19th, May 4th, and May 10th of 2017. Secondly, the approval of tax collection reports for April 2017. And third, approval of proposed budget amendments and financial statements for April 2017.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, all in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion carries unanimously. All right, moving on to reports and information items. First off, we have Mr. Hilberg is going to discuss information regarding the National Joint Powers Alliance Purchasing Cooperative contract for Seguin High School's fitness equipment.
Good evening, Ms. Jimenez and Mr. Lewis, members of the board. We have information here. That's exactly what it is, an information item. Several, in fact, to follow. But this one in particular is regarding the purchase of, through the purchasing cooperative, the purchase of various fitness equipment items that will be used at the high school campus. Happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Ms. Reel?
I know it says on here that using the co-ops for these, I've been asked by other people in the community that whether or not this was put out for bid, and I'm kind of referring to all of these that are being presented to us. If they were put out like on a bid out there before, or if you just got a better price on Byboard, or how you determine how they were going to be purchased.
Just like other co-ops, purchasing co-ops, there is a bid process, but the bid process is actually done either at a state level or at a national level. This particular co-op is actually at a national level. And so not only Seguin ISD, but any governmental institution within the state of Texas can benefit from the bid process that was handled by this or any given co-op. The benefit of that, and the reason why that's so advantageous to Seguin, is because if Seguin ISD were to try to do a bid for these items, there wouldn't be the response from various vendors across the nation in this case. And that's because Seguin ISD is just a small little city and doesn't have the economy of scale that's going to merit the big national and even international vendors to even bid. Whereas when you put all the districts together, not only in this case, not only in the state of Texas, but across the United States, you can understand the value that brings to various vendors. And so it's a huge bid process. And they go through all the specs for all the different equipment. They do background checks on all the various vendors. They're approved by, and even it's written into the Texas Education Code that the district should look to purchasing cooperatives in order to improve efficiency of operations locally. So not only, that doesn't mean that there's no way you can get a better price on a given item. There's just no way to guarantee that. But what it does guarantee is that the vendors that participated in the bid, the original bid done by the co-op, those vendors are motivated, highly motivated, to give their very best pricing at that time. And so it's to our advantage to benefit from all the work that's been done. And so this cooperative is the one that we've chosen in terms of pricing and availability of the products that were specific to the athletic department's desires. They had particular vendors, they had particular types of equipment that they wanted, and this vendor was able to provide those types of products. So you sometimes have to go to a co-op that has executed a contract with a vendor that provides the products that you're looking for. And so for some, you may use one co-op, others you may use a different co-op based on the needs of a given department or campus, if you will. But what I've done, I've provided the legal and regulatory basis for using the co-ops, and even TEA. If you look at the FASRAC, it's one of the exhibits there. TEA actually recommends, they stress trying to use co-ops to districts because they understand how laborious the bid process can be. So not only does it cause the district to lose time, but it also costs money, and you might not have the benefit of the best deal. So TEA is even on board with using co-ops to the extent possible, and we try to do that.
Do the co-ops update their pricing on an annual basis?
Not all of them are annual. It depends on the co-op. They'll execute an agreement, and that agreement stands for a given period of time. A lot of times it's 2, maybe even 3 years. But some of them are annual, absolutely. It just depends on the types of products. Some of the things that are more commodity related are going to be, they're going to need to be on an annual basis.
All right.
And just an add note on what Mr. Hilberg's saying, I did a conference, at one of the conferences I went to a workshop, because this was a concern when I first got on board with me as far as the bid process and all. I was trying to learn about the bid process, and the one thing they kind of emphasize is that we are paying the same as any other district in the state of Texas. If we're buying that same piece of equipment from anybody, like any other district, we're all paying the same. So they can't go out and say, well, Seguin got it for $25 cheaper than we did. Everybody's paying the same. So it basically equals the playing ground, and you're not having companies go and give special treatment to one district over another district because maybe they bought more. So it's actually a real benefit. Co-ops are a real benefit for the smaller districts, starting with the under 10,000 and below, and as opposed to the 15 or 20,000 student districts that can actually buy more equipment, and they usually get better treatment. But this actually prevents the vendors from doing that to the smaller districts as well. So that's just one benefit of having the co-ops too.
It's real.
So is there any negotiation with these co-ops, these companies that are within the co-ops? I mean, can you negotiate with them for better prices or not?
Well, it would really depend on what you're buying, because the co-ops are not always just a widget. If it's a widget and they have pricing for it, you can try to negotiate with them, but for the most part, there's not going to be any wiggle room there. However, in some cases, there are components that are put together to create a unit, and you have some ability to put those things together in a way that's maybe not the top of the it's not necessarily their Cadillac version of the end product. So you could negotiate with them in terms of components, but it's going to depend on what you're buying. So for example, in this case, we're talking about a free weight type of equipment for athletics. So there's really not any opportunity for us to try to go beyond to push, even better pricing. If they do have it, they're obligated to provide it. But as far as us having any negotiating power, we really don't have that. It doesn't hurt to ask. I mean, we can certainly do that.
I mean, these are a lot of really large purchases, and I would, my main concern is that we're getting the best price that we possibly can.
Yes, ma'am. I understand. And where we really end up seeing a lot of benefit by doing all of this together is that now we can also negotiate, where we can negotiate with them is on installation. And you can only imagine with $400,000 worth of free weights, that's a lot of weight. We do have the opportunity to have them share the cost of not only shipping but installation, and that's where we are maximizing our efforts. So the individual units, not so much, but how it gets into the high school, we have some room there, and we will continue to push to get as much as we can to the district in that regard as well.
Okay, so that's still an ongoing process?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Any other questions about item A? All right, then moving on to item B, which is the Seguin High School's construction project, Intertel Services, Inc. This is on page 38 for the board, if you're looking at your board packet.
Yeah, I apologize. I can't be in two places at one time. Perhaps if Ms. Whitman maybe you could navigate down, you can see it doesn't. It's again, this is a co-op, an informational item, and what is being requested or informed here to the board are security and surveillance cameras that will be installed at the high school to the tune of $225,000, and it's a purchasing cooperative. In this case, the cooperative is the buy board.
Any questions? All right, moving on to item C, information regarding the buy board purchasing cooperative purchases associated with the Gulf Coast Paper Company.
And again, an information item, but what's being purchased here will be all of the paper goods associated with our food service department. So the napkins, the trays, the utensils, all of those things, those will be purchased through this cooperative.
Any questions? Yes, Mr. Jenkins.
Just the paper goods for the dietary department, you said?
It's for the food service department, so all your breakfast, lunches, snacks, we have the food comes from one arrangement, but we have to have a method to, present it to the children, so that's what this is for.
Just a curiosity, where's the rest of the paper goods come for toiletries and things like that?
Well, this actually does, this company, or this contract also includes custodial supplies, but under this scenario now, we're only asking in terms of what food service needs. So this would specifically be for food service funded by the food service program. This is not hitting the general fund. Custodial would come to the board for at a different time. And that may or may not be with Gulf Coast. I couldn't say at this time.
And is this a one-year product or 2
Yes, sir.
years?
Mm-hmm. This is for a single year.
Any other questions about item C? All right, moving on to item D, information regarding the buy board purchasing co-op purchases associated with Seguin High School's construction project and Marathon Fitness.
So the distinction between this and the fitness equipment that was discussed earlier is that there are two different programs at the high school. One is the free weight facilities for the various athletic groups, football, soccer, basketball, volleyball, everyone else. They're going to use the free weights that we discussed earlier. This is for general physical education, and it does not include any weightlifting apparatus. It only includes treadmills and some bicycles. So that'll be open to the general population at the high school.
Any questions? All right, moving on to item E, information regarding the buy board purchasing co-op purchases associated with Seguin High School's construction project and Winger Corporation.
So what we have here, Winger is a highly recognized company, and so like with any special organization, athletics, fine arts, they have their preferred vendors. And so Winger is one of those preferred vendors that you'll see across many different programs. And so our fine arts department wanted to use Winger. They knew what the budget was. It's been the same ever since 2015. It was in the scope originally prepared. So they went and found where they could get what they need from Winger within the budget that was available to them. So that's what the Fine Arts Department did here. And so the items that they're purchasing here for this $156,000 is various chairs and stands, as well as acoustical panels. So if you want to know what acoustical panels is, I'll have to defer to hopefully the Fine Arts Director is here. But that's the types of things that they're purchasing here.
So by stands, you mean music stands?
Yes, ma'am. From what I understand, it would actually be the stands that would hold the music, not other stands like that they would. You know, there are some stands where the students would actually stand on the platform. That's not what this is related. This is related to stands that the various music.
So it's not risers?
No.
You think there are some risers in there?
In this one? Okay, it was my understanding that was in the previous. It is with Winger, but okay, well there may be
And the
some.
acoustical panels he's talking about are the ones that go behind the band that deflect out. Those are.
Those are very necessary.
Yeah, they are necessary, and they are coming from Winger. It was I must have misunderstood. It was my understanding that they were with when we previously came to the board a couple of months ago about Winger. I thought that was when we were discussing the risers, but they could be in here as well. It's not an all-inclusive. There's not a list provided here, but I do have one. Just looked over it in great detail. So
All right.
I'm happy to do that if we need to.
Any other comments? Mr. Lewis, did you have anything you wanted to add to this discussion? Okay, all right. Thank you very much. All right, moving on to action items. Item A, we have submission of an expedited waiver request to TEA for a timeline for accelerated instruction. Dr. Gordo.
Good evening, Ms. Jimenez, board members, Mr. Lewis. Yes, indeed, this is a waiver that the state of Texas allows us to file. And what it does is that we're required to provide accelerated instruction to students in grade 5 and 8 who did not demonstrate proficiency in STAR, either on reading or math. And that must occur after each administration, and including the third administration, which will be taking place this summer. How we do that is that we have to make sure that the students who are either placed or advanced to the next grade level, they have to complete accelerated instruction required by the grade placement committee. Now, accelerated instruction is really interventions. So if the student did not pass, we are required then to provide them with instruction that is different than what is done before, in order to ensure that they will be successful academically, not only on STAR. So that's what we mean by accelerated instruction. Then the other thing that it does is that we have to make sure that that acceleration is going to also ensure that the student's going to be successful in the next grade level. So that's what they are required. Now, what conditions they put, the state of Texas puts on the district, is that we have to provide some things. The first thing is that, again, we have to identify and document that intensive instruction that meets the student's needs. We also have to make sure that the targeting of the instruction that is reported where the student was weak on. So we get a report and it identifies what areas that the student need the acceleration. So we have to do that and document it. Also, we need to make sure that it's done within the first 6 weeks of school. Otherwise, it would have to be done immediately after the student takes a test, and we get the results. And that would be during the month of August, prior to the start of the school year. So by doing a waiver, the state then allows us to complete that acceleration within the first 6 weeks of school. So that's what we're asking for. Also, it requires that we provide that ongoing instructional support during the entire school year. So in order to receive that waiver. Now, how are we going to do this? What's the district's plan? Well, we have a timeline that was provided to the principals. That is the elementary and the middle school principals, to make sure that that is documented. And there'll be meetings that will be held between the elementary and the middle school, so they're aware and they collaborate on what plan that's going to look like, because the elementary is going to put together the plan, but then it has to be carried out by the middle school, because they're the 5th graders going on to the 6th grade. The same thing will happen with your middle school. As they're moving on to the high school, there has to be that collaboration between the middle school principal and the high school principal in order to make sure that that acceleration is taking place. So, and then the state does allow us to apply for a 3-year waiver, and that's what we have here before the board for your approval. And this will be submitted again once the board approves this action. And if there's any questions.
I so move to approve the waiver request.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Okay, unanimous approval. Thank you, Dr. Jill.
Thank you. We'll submit it.
All right, moving on to item B. This is for Region Education Service Center 13 commitment forms. Mr. Lewis.
Yeah, each year we contract with the Service Center for various programs, support services, applications. The Service Center requires us to do a commitment form, and so these are all the commitment forms. These are reoccurring year to year. They're just all grouped together, and then the total cost is up at the top. So this would approve the spending of, I think it's $96,800 for all the services listed, which is something we do every year. Service Center provides really important needed support for us, and anything from financial to required PEMS reporting, things that we have to do, and so you almost have to contract with them for certain things. But these are all recurring contracts that you can only get these things from the Service Center. So
move for approval.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, raise your right hand for approve. All right, passed unanimously. Moving on to number C, consideration of Seguin ISD's participation in Region 13 Regional Day School Program for the Deaf. Ms. Legore and Ms. Dean, and or.
Hello. The services that we are talking about is the Regional Day School for the Deaf Cooperative. We're a member, it's actually a shared service arrangement. So we're a member of the cooperative, and it's located in Hayes Independent School District. It's services that for our students that are deaf or hearing impaired that would be very difficult for us to duplicate if we had to. We currently send 3 students to the program, but could send as many as we need. We never know how many students we're going to have in our district that may have this need. It's interpretive services, hearing impairment services, special teachers for the hearing impaired. So they set up a really nice program that our students benefit from.
Any questions? Do I hear a motion?
So move.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. Approved unanimously. Thank you. All right, moving on to item D, approval of student accident catastrophic insurance coverage from the Brokerage Store, Inc. Mr. Hilbert.
Similar to some of the other items, this is a renewal type of coverage for student insurance and catastrophic insurance for students. Comes up every year. The benefit this year with this renewal is there's actually a drop in premium, which is somewhat unheard of. But $71,000, we certainly appreciate that on the part of the brokerage store. So happy to field any questions that you might have.
So moved.
I have a motion from Mr. Holt. Do I hear a second? Mr. Amador, any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. All right, approved unanimously. Mr. Hilbert, you're still on the hot seat. Approval of depository contract with First Commercial Bank for the 2017-2019 biennium.
Yes, there may or may not be some discussion. This was an interesting one. We've done depository bids every 3 years for a long time now. When we came time to do the depository bid this time, we had to do an extension because there were no respondents. And so we reached out to the various banks to find out why that might be. And the good thing is it's not because of anything Seguin ISD is doing, but there's just not a lot of money to be made on the part of banks in holding and collateralizing public funds. Not to mention the fact that there's a lot of paperwork involved. We did eventually get 2 respondents, and they both have, they're quite competitive. If you look at the bid tabulation, you'll notice that. So it was a very thin margin that First Commercial received the recommendation from Seguin ISD, not to mention the fact that they are the current depository. So when it's that close, we certainly would prefer operationally to stick with the bank that we've been using. So I'd like to answer any questions you might have.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All right. Passed unanimously. Moving forward to item F, approval of agreement with the Texas Association of School Boards for, oh, that was it. I'm sorry. That is it. Oh, you're right. It is. It sounds very similar. For workers' compensation stop loss coverage for the July period, July 1, 2017 through June 30th, 2018. Any discussion? All right. All in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed? All right. And last item G for Mr. Hilbert, approval of the publication of notice of public meeting to discuss budget and proposed tax rate. I have a movement and a second. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All right. All right, thank you, Mr. Hilbert. And moving on to item H, personnel action for professional employees, Ms. Whitman.
Good evening. In your packet, you have a recommendation for 10 new hires for Seguin ISD. And in your exhibit, gives you a little background information of what degrees they hold, what experiences they have, maybe where they're coming from, their university. And on the front page actually shows you which schools they're going to be assigned to. We have 10 new hires, 7 have bachelor's degree, 3 have master's degrees, and a few of them will be mostly at our elementary schools. We have a new middle school coordinator that's been recommended, and a couple of middle school coach. We recruited a couple from McAllen ISD that came with some great references, so we're super excited about bringing both the husband and wife. And we have a new behavior coordinator that we're stealing from another district that has come highly, highly recommended and has already interviewed and did well with the special education department. And a couple principals sat on that committee as well and felt that that was going to be a good move for us with our needs. So if there's any questions on the elections, I'd be happy to answer those. I try to give you some of those a little bit of information in your update, as well as your resignation. So you saw already in our retirement banquet how many we retired, and then in the update, if we see something that is a big change on what we've been used to, we try to give you that information in the update, so it's not so shocking when you get these. It might look like a lot right now, but with the monthly board meetings, we've held them all, and this is about the time we're seeing that movement. So there's 29 resignations, with 10 from the high school, 2 middle school, 17 elementary, and 8 of the 29 are retirees. So we would have an acknowledgement or approval of the recommendation and an acknowledgement of the resignations.
So moved for the recommendation of hiring Adriana R.C., Roy R.C., Michelle Cowie, Kimberly Ferguson, Brandy Gray, Kinsey Perry, Allison Pollard, Mark Rodriguez, Tracy Tate, Lauren Wolf, and accept the acknowledgement of resignations for the following.
I have a motion and a second. All those, anybody have any discussion? All right.
I'd just like to make one comment. I did notice on your exhibit for the new teachers that we're hiring, several of them, actually I only noticed one that didn't have any experience, but most of them have at least 5 to 7 to 9 years experience, which is really good. In the past, we haven't seen that many hiree or new hires that have had that much experience over a long haul, and I think that goes back to the adjustment we made on with the pay grades as well, I think, as well.
And the two coming with no experience, actually student teachers that were at our campuses, so we've got to see them in action, and they are going to be hired at the campus that they did student teaching at, so we feel very, very comfortable with those 2 hires.
Do you anticipate many more resignations coming in? And what is the deadline?
The deadline is July, the 45 days before the first day instruction. I think it's July 14th.
July 14th.
Yes, so that will be the deadline for penalty free. After that, it will have to be with the agreement of that campus principal unless, somebody's husband gets relocated, to another state. Obviously, we're going to support whatever they need, but the teachers know there's a penalty-free timeline, so July 14th. We'll probably see a few more. Some are interviewing right now, just, again, some try to get closer to where they live, or different opportunities, possible promotions. We have some positions posted on our website as well that are promotional, bilingual interventionists. We have a reading dyslexia instructional position, so hopefully we'll have some internal movement there.
All right. Any further questions, Ms. Reel?
And when a teacher resigns, there is an exit interview so that we know, so we can get that information as to why they're leaving.
Yes, a lot of them will come in, they just won't know the process, so a lot of them will come in and we'll visit informally anyway, so I'll kind of get a gauge on why they're leaving. And then we send, they get a letter from us acknowledging that we received their letter. From there, they're supposed to come in and do an exit interview with us. If they have time, I sit with them and kind of go through, tell me, what was good, what was bad, what can we do better. Some, it's just they'll come up and fill out the form, they don't have time, but they're pretty honest on that form. Again, most of them are very positive. They've had a great run here. We have a couple that weren't so positive, and so we look at those and we share those with those campus administrators. And some are, it's like maybe it's not a good fit for either one of us. But yes, we do follow through to verify maybe some of those reasons.
Any other questions, comments? All right, I have a motion, a second. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. Passed unanimously.
Ms. Thomas Jimenez, who was the second? I didn't hear who was the second.
Mr. Amador.
Amador.
Yes. All right. At this point, we will be going into closed session after a 5-minute break. For closed session, board will adjourn into closed session pursuant to the following sections of the Texas Open Meetings Act. Texas Government Code Section 551.071, 551.074, 551.129. Consideration with legal counsel, including possible telephone consultation with legal counsel as necessary to address legal concerns, implications, and answer any legal questions regarding posted agenda items. Pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.074, discuss personnel matters, including appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment duties, discipline, or dismissal of an employee. Texas Government Code Section 551.071, consultation with legal counsel regarding contract for hail damage claim. Texas Government Code Section 551.082 and 551.0821 to hear a Level 3 parent-student grievance, and Texas Government Code Section 551.071, 551.082, and 551.0821, consultation with legal counsel and deliberation regarding Level 3 parent-student grievance. So open session will close at 7:35. The closed meeting will be over at the Seguin room and will begin at 7:40.
All right, it is 9:32 and we're going to reconvene to open meeting. The board will take appropriate action on item C, possible action regarding level 3 parent-student grievance.
Madam President.
They're off.
Oh,
there's.
I think something's wrong with it.
Okay. Speak loud.
Yeah, they're all off.
Madam President, I move that we take uphold level 2 response and proceed as administration is deemed.
Have a motion, do I have a second? Mr. Almador, any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. Unanimous. Moving on to item D, issues and concerns for future agenda or creation of administrative reports. Anybody? Speak loud.
I'd like to request, I'd like to request that a facilities committee be formed, and I'd like for the committee to consist of members of the district and members of the community. We have campuses in our district that some are vacant, some are only partially used, and we have some campuses that need some repairs and some attention. So my hope is for the committee to tour each of the facilities and the campuses in our district, and to come up with some sort of a plan, make some recommendations to the administration, to the board, of what each of those facilities need in repairs, and the campuses and facilities that are vacant or only partially used, what we can do as a school district to either sell them, put them to some sort of good use, but to just not be vacant or only partially used.
Who do you see being on this committee? You said people from the district and the community.
Maybe each board member could appoint somebody from their district, somebody maybe who, can look at like.
Well, you don't look at me.
John. No, somebody.
I'll
somebody
offer to be on it as a board rep. I'll offer to be on it from my knowledge, but.
Yeah, some people who have in the community who may have knowledge of, taking a look at a building and seeing maybe, and being able to see what it needs.
I think there's a lot more to that committee. There's a lot of other items that committee could do to address the situation. To piggyback what she said about our vacant campuses, we do have a few vacant campuses, and there are other properties in this district that we own that maybe not everybody's aware of that are vacant or not being used. And with the increase in student population that I'm hoping is going to grow, I would like to see us maybe liquidate some items that we have on the books and prepare to expand in other areas. Relocate those properties, because some of them are not, with relative to the other properties that we have in use, are not in locations that may be beneficial in the future.
So John has said he'd like to be on board. On this committee, if any of the rest of you would like to, just let me know individually. And then what about district staff?
I would see that the main director is one.
Probably best to work out the details when it's actually posted. We can just post that on an agenda item.
I agree.
All right.
I have one more. I was looking for Tony because I had asked a while back to get a report on the addition of buses on bad weather days. One was added to Pot Money, one was added to Jefferson, and I believe Weiner is the other walking campus, but they did not receive a bus, and so I asked for a report to find out the effectiveness of the attendance, boost in attendance to those campuses, to see if that's something that we need to continue to get our kids in attendance on bad weather days. But I'd like to see if that helps.
So Mr. Lewis and Mr. Hilberg, is that something y'all can take a look at and get back to us?
Yeah, and that doesn't have to be right away. I mean, it's coming up in summer, but sometime before the start of the
Beginning of the next
school
school
year,
year.
and
Okay.
when the bus plan is in
Pass
place.
that to Mr. Lewis and Ms. LaFleur. Anybody else? Have any items? Well, I do just want to remind y'all that the superintendent applications close at midnight, so 2.5 hours. And all of us should expect an email tomorrow from TASB sometime tomorrow morning, what I've been told. And then just a reminder that our next meeting is a special board meeting a week from today, June 6th at 6:30 to discuss those applications. Yes, sir.
Pray for no rain on Saturday.
Okay, pray for no rain.
Everybody,
Yes.
everything.
All right.
Pray.
Do I hear him? Yes, you have another?
I'd just like to apologize to y'all. I normally keep my phone turned off when I walk in the door. For some reason today it didn't, and it rang. I really apologize for that. So I always keep my phone right up here so you know I'm not playing on my phone or just checking emails or whatever. I feel like I've disrespected y'all. So.
We didn't know. I didn't even.
They were talking the whole time.
Thank you, thank you. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Holt and Mr. Flores, all in favor? Raise your right hand. And it is 9:38. We'll close this